On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, presented by FanDuel, we talked some of the incentives for the Eli Drinkwitz contract. Kenny and Payton and I broke that down. Just kind of did a deep dive basically on the whole 8-game extension thing and why we all think it's actually really good for Mizzou, because there's been a lot of discourse about that. So it's mostly about that. We touched on the other incentives as well and talked about those. And then Kenny and I recapped Mizzou's win over Alabama State in men's basketball. Sort of doomy and gloomy win for Mizzou men's basketball, but we gleaned some positives with it. We gleaned some positives from Alabama State with it as well. There's some Alabama State praise at the top of that segment, but talked about that. We also talked about the schedule coming out, the new 9-game schedule for Mizzou, some of the changes, Arkansas game getting moved, Florida being homecoming, talked about all that stuff. And then we finished with quick hits, had some more Mizzou stuff in that. Talk some Tigers in the pros. I got an NBA take in there about the Oklahoma City Thunder being freaking awesome and probably record breaking this year. So we had all sorts of stuff flying. Talked about the SEC awards as per usual. Marquise Davis transferring too. So plenty of stuff to sink your teeth into, which you can do right now as the Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to the Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, December 12th. Happy 12/12. It's not 2012, so it's not 12/12/12, but close enough. Close enough.
I think there was a Flo Rida concert on that day.
What?
I don't know. There was some big concert when I was a kid on 12/12/12, and I remember it having Flo Rida, I think.
That's when the world was supposed to end.
Yeah, it's true.
That was the 21st, yeah.
But that would have fit the time frame. Flo Rida was big then. Shout out Flo Rida. Made some good bangers of our childhood era. We're gonna talk some Mizzou football contractual things. And then Kenny.
All right.
Yay. And then Kenny is going to do his end of the season superlatives. I know there is still a bowl game, but I don't really want to wait till after the bowl game. I don't know if the bowl game's going to influence your superlatives that much, Kenny. Maybe we can do some sort of special thing, bowl game exclusive, but I think it's a fitting time to do it and look back at who we were saying was standing out or not so much in the midpoint of the season. So, but we're going to talk Eli Drinkwitz contract incentives first a little bit, because this kind of came out over the past couple of days. The details of Drinkwitz's contract extension at Mizzou. Obviously, they got that deal done a bit of time ago, but some more stuff coming out about kind of the nitty gritty. As a reminder, it's 6 years, $64.5 million. And Payton, I want to start with the kind of point that I feel like I've seen the most chatter about, which is the clause in it that basically gives Drink a rolling automatic extension if Mizzou gets to 8 wins on the season. There's been a fair bit of discourse about this. I've seen positive and negative stuff kind of about it and about including that. And if Mizzou should have done that, if that's should they be held to a higher standard than that? Why are we only shooting for 8 wins? All sorts of kind of smoke. I'm curious to your guys' take, and Payton, I'll start with you because I know you've been posting a bit about it. I'll throw out an opinion out there to get the ball rolling. I think it's a good thing to include in Drinkwitz's contract extension, this 8-win superlative that extends his deal if he keeps winning that many games or more.
Yeah, I am going to agree with you, Jack. Look, you can call this a loser's mentality. You can call it settling. You can call it whatever you want. We have got to keep in perspective that this is still Missouri we're talking about, all right? This is not Alabama. This is not Georgia. I'd love to be able to sit here and say Missouri should have those type of expectations, but we are so far off of that kind of baseline. It's just not, I think, a realistic way to think. So I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, thought 9 should have been the target number. I don't know why the 1-game discrepancy is such a big deal with
For
people.
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't quite get the outrage towards this. Missouri has been a program that really, since the 60s, has had 2 coaches win at the level that I think Missouri fans really are happy with, and Drinkwitz is one of them. It is so hard for Missouri to win like it has the last 3 years. We have to, if Missouri wins the Gator Bowl against Virginia, that'll put them at 9 wins. It'll be the only time in Missouri history they have won 9+ games 3 years in a row. Okay. 8 wins, especially with the SEC going to 9 conference games, and you're going to be required to play a Power 4 out of conference. That's 10 games that are going to realistically, I know every year there's going to be a few like that you absolutely should win, but 8 wins against that is not easy to do. It's very much, especially, and again, Missouri is not this top of the conference job in the SEC. It really isn't. I don't even know if you would say realistically it's top half. I would probably say you can make an argument it's like way better than it was a few years ago. It seems like they're in good shape with NIL and everything. Drink is proving you can recruit and win here. But it's still just a gauntlet of a conference. This and the Big Ten, it really is just, I think it really does mean a good amount when you win 8 games a year. And I've said this to Kenny as well. If you establish a baseline where you win 8 games a year, eventually you're going to get a team that pops. You just get a perfect mix of transfers, a good senior class, perfect development. A couple breaks go your way, you're going to win 10, 11 games if you're winning 8 a year. Okay. I don't really buy into this narrative that Missouri has to have higher expectations than 8 games a year. Right now, I don't believe in that. I think that we all would have killed for Missouri to have a coach to win 8 games every year. Even back in 2022. So you're not going to hear me complain about it. I think it's a smart move from them. Drinkwitz is never going to have his job be under fire if he wins 8 games. So why not give him a little bit of an incentive to keep reaching that?
Kenny, I have a name to give you to feed your thinking as well. That kept coming up as Payton said that, and that I was thinking about even before when I saw the discourse about this. Scott Frost, Nebraska. That's where we talk about a team getting too complacent or not liking the complacency and changing it and it happening for the worse. I don't know if you agree with Payton here.
The Pelini syndrome.
Yeah, I think the expectations are a little bit higher for a program like Nebraska and the fan base. You win so many national titles 20 plus years ago. You're still trying to find that success again. Missouri doesn't have a history like that where you're trying to chase that, chase the past. For anything that Missouri is doing now is going to be better than the past. Yes, they haven't made it to back-to-back SEC championships or SEC championships since the start of the early 2010s. But this is still a team that, like Payton said, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because I've brought it up before, these expectations have climbed immensely from 2022, from 2021. Seasons that Mizzou was clawing just to make a bowl game. And those bowl games, weren't the best. You went and played Army at TCU Stadium. And then 2 years later, you're in the Cotton Bowl in the same area, the same town almost, playing Ohio State, who won the national championship 2 years later. It was such a quick turnaround. Yeah. No, 2 years later.
It was the next season.
I said 2021. Oh, sorry.
I thought you were talking about from.
Yeah. So, with that as well, it's such a quick turnaround that I understand, the expectations, and I read the comments on Facebook, and I feel like that's a tough place to actually field an opinion for some of these people, because there's people out there that still don't want Drinkwitz as the coach, of course, and they're saying, oh, he's never won the big game. I mean, it's such a long process, a long road to actually, really turn that around. And one of the big things he said it early on in 2022, and there's another thing that, we just kind of hit home at that time, was the Bobby Bowden quote of, you lose by a lot, you lose by a little, you win by a little, you win by a lot. And that's kind of where Mizzou went in those 2 years after that, where he kept hammering that home in that 6-6 season that ended with the bowl loss to Wake Forest, is that they were just trying to turn the corner, and they did, and they turned very fast. I mean, you can say that 6-7 season turning the corner, you go beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, no matter, how that Ohio State team looked that year, that was still a huge turnaround. And I feel like the expectations just got really high. And for some of those things, you have to come back down to earth. And I think some Missouri fans probably should have done that after you still win 10 games and you win the Music City Bowl against Iowa. That's still a fine season. I mean, like Drinkwitz has said many of times now, is, this playoff or bust isn't the best mentality for every program. Yes, it'll work for schools like Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Texas, Georgia, these blue bloods, but Missouri's just not there yet. And you can't just force Missouri or force that belief on a team or on a program that's still just trying to build itself up nationally and build that national recognition. So I think it's fair to say too, Drinkwitz likes that national recognition, and they're still trying to get there. If he's here for the next 6 years, I feel like that they could do that. But also, the teams and recruits have said it before. If you win 9 games, win 8 games at Florida, you'll get fired. If you do that at Missouri, you could become a legend. And I think that's something that, you could rewrite the history of Missouri, and you keep doing it. It's a process. It's not going to happen in 1 to 2 years.
I agree. I continue to kind of reframe some of this contract stuff and look at it more like an insurance policy than an actual deal for a person. I think, it's, if Drinkwitz keeps doing this, if you have the consistency, your insurance renews, you're covered as a team and as a program at Missouri. And I think, like, the patience in college football is so thin, and for a team in Missouri's position, it's hard to have that, because you are in this kind of in between. But the three of us can appreciate, our entire 4 years, they never got above 6 wins when we were in school there, and now you're doing that
500 every
year.
season.
Yeah, every single season. And I
Never
think
won a bowl game either.
Yeah, no, they did not. And I think that consistency, is just, it's a good thing. Like Payton said, I completely buy into that. You're going to have a couple years that break your way. I'm also getting really tired of the no big game thing. Like 2023, if that year happens 1 year later, Missouri is a playoff team. And I don't know what people are thinking with it. I get, could they have beaten Georgia? There was South Carolina last year. There's some moments. Florida, Kansas State, I guess Kentucky wasn't really a big game, but that was a big
I
win.
don't why I don't care who
Ohio
was or
State
was
was
not
a massive
in
game.
Ohio's in the Cotton Bowl. That is like a huge deal to go in and beat Ohio. Carnell Tate and Emeka Egbuka were the receivers for that Ohio State team. That was a good team. Okay. Yes, they ran Kyle McCord out of town, and he wasn't starting. Marvin Harrison wasn't starting. Tommy Eichenberg missed that game for Ohio State, I believe. Missouri was also missing plenty of starters on that game. They missed 2 of their top draft picks in that game. Hopper and Rakestraw did not play in that game. Carley's got hurt. He was
no Chad Bailey either.
Chad Bailey didn't play in that game. He was a starter. It's just, I don't know why I feel like you have to do a lot of goalpost moving and mental gymnastics to not count the Cotton Bowl, or really like any of the other games Knowlton mentioned. Why is Kansas State not a big game? Why is Kentucky that year not a big game? Even like last year with their Oklahoma, I don't care how bad Oklahoma was that year. That was a huge deal to be able to go and win that game, I think. It's just, I'm with you, Knowlton. The big game thing is just, no, he has yet to get a top 10 crown jewel SEC.
He hasn't beaten Georgia. Sorry. Most teams
he didn't
haven't.
beat. The one I will kind of like agree with, like the Vanderbilt game was pretty pathetic. That was terrible to lose that game. But
yeah,
geez, man, are we really going to hold it against them? They didn't beat Alabama because Bo Prabula threw 2 picks. Are we really going to hold it against him? Like Knowlton said, he didn't beat the Heisman winner in 2023. He didn't beat Georgia in 2023. Just silly to me. I feel like it's natural for sports fans to become so spoiled so quickly, but the Drinkwitz thing in particular, I was probably as big of a Drinkwitz hater as you could find through the first 2 games of 2023. But even in spite of like the flaws he has, he's not a perfect coach. I even think his personality sometimes kind of can rub me the wrong way. But man, if we're going to be in a position to complain about a coach that wins 29 games, possibly 30 in 3 years at Missouri, careful what you wish for. That's just all I'll say about that.
I think it is so much easier, again, with the insurance thing, to slip back into the depths of 500 and worse when you shake things up than it is to like find another guy to climb higher than where Drinkwitz has taken this team. And again, I think it's important to keep the perspective that in 2023, that team goes to the college football playoff if the stupid committee changes its format a year earlier. Like it was a playoff team. If we're evaluating it by today's standards, that's what it was. And to me, that shows that Drinkwitz can absolutely get a team there again with the, with the right mix. And I don't think it's being too down on ourselves to not be hopeful for that happening every once in a while. If it also means that, every other season they're winning at least 8 games and getting a good bowl game and being a program that's a challenge. Kenny, I don't know if you have any other thoughts. Otherwise, I have a fun hypothetical before we move on.
Loser mentality, guys. What are you guys talking about? Do you guys not
the word spoiled? Payton did say the word spoiled, and after Mr. Barry Alvarez used that word, now that word irks me every time I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's think of a few differences between my usage and Barry Alvarez.
No, I understand. It's the word itself, but yeah.
It's just that next step. I think that's what the next thing you have when you have a lot of this funding. And Jack, I'm sure you'll get more into the numbers here in a second. We kind of went off track about what the contract actually means, but that's just that next step. You have to win those games to stick around. And it may not stick around, but elevate this program even more than what you've done the last 2 years. And I think that's what comes next. How are you going to get all the best transfer, get the best players to beat that top 10 ranked team and get that respect and that understanding? Because that's kind of just falls into the quote he had about Bobby Bowden years ago, is that they're just losing some of these close games against these top ranked opponents. They're just not getting over that hump. That's the next goal. I think that's the next thing that Mizzou has to accomplish.
I have a maybe dumb, here's my dumb, maybe not dumb, maybe dumb hypothetical for you guys. Cause I triggered when Payton said the whole, is Missouri a top half job in the SEC? What does this extension mean, and where does the Missouri job rank if they're still in the Big 12, the current iteration of the Big 12, and Drinkwitz gets this extension? What are we talking about in terms of the perception of it if they're in the Big 12?
Quite frankly, if Missouri was in the Big 12 with this level of NIL commitment, it seems like with this contract for Drinkwitz, I would say at a minimum every year you should probably be playing Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game. Because Texas Tech is also just completely loaded itself. Like BYU, great program. I think Missouri is easily better, though. Utah, another good job. I think Missouri should probably strive to be bigger than that. I can't really even think of any other Big 12 jobs I would put in there, to be honest with you. Arizona's decent. K-State's a decent program, but I don't think they have the resources Missouri does, but I'm not privy to any of the numbers. But yeah, I would probably say Missouri should be top 2 at worst in the Big 12. But that's the thing. The SEC is way more difficult because I still don't think they're even close to a top half job in the SEC right now.
This comes up a lot, and I don't think it's probably said enough, is that Mizzou doesn't really have in-state competition. That's something that really kind of helps. In Kansas, of course, you're seeing Missouri as a better program than Kansas and Kansas State, but those are 2 schools in the same state in the Big 12, 2 Power 4 schools. You have the same thing in Arizona. You have 2 Power 4 schools there. You go up to Utah. You have 2 Power 4 schools there. Texas Tech, that's in a world of its own. Texas could be its own country if it wanted to. That's actually proven. But yeah, that's that's what I think comes up too. It's like LSU is in the same boat. LSU has had so much success and so much positive outward look of its brand, no matter its outcome, because kids want to play at LSU. For Missouri, it's like, I mean, there's a lot more support than there is in the past couple of years. And I think that's also in part to not really having much competition around the state. I remember Drinkwitz got questioned at SEC Media Days. I mean, how do you deal with the Cardinals and the Chiefs or something like that, dealing with trying to get eyes on them?
I remember this.
And I thought that was funny. But I mean, from a college perspective, it's just Missouri.
Can't be a fan of both. Not allowed. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you had another point. Okay.
No, I just abruptly ended that.
Okay.
I thought you were mad at him for a second.
Yeah, sorry. I thought by interrupting got to him. I was thinking, is it just Nebraska and Arkansas? Those are the only two states that border that also only have one Power 4 team, right? I think every other state has at least two. I think it's just Nebraska and Arkansas with the one.
Count Illinois.
Illinois has got two technically with Northwestern. Iowa's got two. Tennessee's got two.
Why would we not count Illinois and Northwestern?
I don't know.
I mean, does Kansas have any?
Kansas has two. Oh, right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys make some good points. I think this is a good thing ultimately for Missouri. But Payton made the point for me. If it's the Big 12, it's about perception, right? If it's the Big 12, it's a different conference. You might be having a different conversation. But I think to compete in this league at the level that Missouri is doing in the SEC is really impressive. And I, for one, would like it to continue to be so. And I think they're doing that with some insurance for Drinkwitz. I'll run through the other incentive stuff. Most of it pretty routine. He has 4 pools of up to $2 million in incentives for each season. There's academics. He gets $25K for, it just says academic/social achievement. I'm sure there's some quantifiers there. $25K for being in the final top 25. He gets $75K for being SEC Coach of the Year, $75K National Coach of the Year. He gets $50K, and then it goes up by $50K if he gets 10 wins or more. He gets $400K for an SEC championship win. $1.25 million if Missouri wins the national championship, and such and such bowl game participant. It goes down, playoff, quarterfinal, semifinal, all that stuff is pretty normal. The other big one, and this has been discussed before, was the assistant salary jumps from $12 million to $16 million. So they get a little bit of a bigger pool. I believe that puts them in the top half of the SEC in terms of how much they can now give to assistants, which is a pretty big deal. Given the fact you've had guys like Blake Baker poached before. Kirby Moore, maybe or maybe not in Pullman. He wasn't, for the record. I don't know. I wanted to lump him in there with that, but yeah. Assistant pool jumps up.
Him and his brother look very similar. To quote Kenny.
I had some banger tweets.
Kellen's in the Big Easy right now.
Yeah. What's the Kirby Moore latest?
I had some tweets out there. I don't know if you guys noticed on the Unwritten Rule. Go follow, Believe Unwritten. We had some funny tweets about this.
He had some time on his hands.
We did. I had to mute one of them because it was getting so many likes.
Hollywood Kenny. No, but the assistant pool is definitely the more enticing one to me. Obviously, I think the big thing for Drink was getting more NIL support, and you can't put that into a contract. So that's probably the big thing there. But I would say that the assistant pool is another big thing. I think we can probably guess on a few different changes that could happen. I think a few guys are probably in line to get a raise. I can't believe nobody has tried to make Curtis Looper their OC or anything yet. But I'd like to keep him well compensated if I were Drinkwitz. We'll see what else happens. I'm sure we'll get more clarity after the bowl game. But definitely very impressive that Missouri is able to kind of throw elbows when it comes to getting assistants like that. Because Drink's best ability, I think, it has been his staff building.
Yeah, and one thing he's kind of approached too with that is they've waited after the bowl game in recent years, and you see him do it pretty quickly. They got Derek Nicholson on staff probably a week or two after DJ Smith left to be the defensive coordinator at App State. They've done things in the past where they look towards the spring where Al Davis left, or when they got Brandon Jones to come in as the offensive line coach there right around the spring portal in April or May. which no longer exists. But those 2 months do, not the spring portal. But I think that'll be something that they address too. Yeah, maybe they address it, in January, though. Is like, are they going to do an assessment of the offensive staff, see if there's any changes you make there? They're probably going to have to do a hard assessment of special teams as well and see if there's going to be any changes there. So this pool of extra money could probably help them go and find, if they need to replace anyone, probably a premier one. And I think a lot of people have been happy with who Drinkwitz has hired in recent years.
Yeah, I think giving him more resources to make good assistant hires is only gonna. Sorry. Where did it cut off?
I don't even remember anymore. But it was very sudden.
It came unplugged. It came like the mic came.
We're a professional podcast, guys.
Yeah, professional podcast. I think I was saying it's gonna help Drinkwitz get to above 8 wins. Is giving him more money for more staffers. All right, Kenny, do you have some superlatives for us for the 2025 end of regular season? Also, we'll revisit our preseason predictions. I think we can do that. That could be a post bowl game thing.
Yeah, that'll be a better post poll game than adding in more superlatives. Then I've been trying to do it where it's like in 4-game increments, and these last 4 games were pretty blah. I mean, Mizzou's season was over; they weren't going to make the playoff. You lose to Texas A&M, you beat Mississippi State, you lose to Oklahoma. Which I was going to do this later about like what's the most forgettable SEC game for Missouri, like each season under Drinkwitz. Oklahoma game is kind of in the back of my mind as one that I'll probably.
That's a good idea. I'd love to do that. I think
we'll do that once the season ends. I'll do a couple where like I'll do most forgettable non-conference game from that season and an SEC game as well. 2020 Mississippi State. That is like a game I have no memories of.
I know. I remember it because I was really like hoping Missouri would win to get to 6-4, and I was listening to it on the radio driving back home. But other than that.
It's that and then parts of that Kentucky game that year because I believe I missed that game because I had COVID. And so I didn't get to see
what the worst game from that year is? South Carolina, 17-10. Missouri won that game. I think that was Will Muschamp's last game at South Carolina. What a complete memory hole that is. I have no recollection of that game.
Okay. Well, let's not spoil that. We'll get into that a little bit more later. I mean, once the season ends, and we'll talk about it after the bowl game. But superlatives wise, let's get into it. We're not going to do the last 4 games. I'm just going to do overall of the season, and I can give you the ones from the last ones if you need that too.
Sure.
Okay. Guys, good. All right. The first award, so I'm not adding anyone's on here, but if anyone has any special ones, I know, Jack, you had some last time. So the Cody Schrader offensive MVP through the first 4 games, you guys chose Ahmad Hardy. Through the next 4 games, you guys chose Ahmad Hardy. And for the next 3, I'm going to guess you guys are going to choose Ahmad Hardy, but I'll give you the names. And it's a little bit different than the last ones because I feel like these guys deserve a shout in this category as well. So Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, and Keegan Trost.
Shout out Keegan Trost because he was very good. That was quite a get for them. It seemed like he really took a step forward to the point where I honestly think he should be a draft pick. Hashtag not a scout. But he was great. But that being said, it's Ahmad Hardy again.
I can't push back on that. I mean, I've lobbied there's a certain running back who's going to New York for the Heisman Trophy. And I don't even think he's the best player at his position. So what's the deal with that?
All right. Darius Mizzou, defensive MVP through the first 4 games. You guys chose Josiah Trotter. Through the next 4 games, you guys chose Zion Young. So I did a little combination of the 3 guys that stood out the most on that defense, in my opinion, and went Josiah Trotter, Zion Young, and Damon Wilson II.
This is tough. I think you could make an argument for all 3 of those guys. I almost want to throw Chris McClellan in the mix too. He had a few big plays.
Unsung hero. Will go down in the annals.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be in some of the other categories. So I'll go ahead and say Trotter. He's still, I don't even think, reached his full potential. Man, no, I got to go Zion Young. I mean, I was not expecting that from him this year. He had a good year next to Johnny Walker last year. I figure Damon Wilson comes in. Damon Wilson's going to be the alpha, and Zion Young still has a decent year. Zion Young exploded. He was a bona fide stud. What a get he was. I mean, everyone's going to remember the Auburn game before overtime too. Just a joy of a player to watch. He became a favorite of mine for sure. I got to go with him. I mean, the strength of this Mizzou team was its D line, and I think he was the best player on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to stray away from my Josiah Trotter appreciation to be just to be different here. I'm not going to argue necessarily against Zion Young. I think Josiah Trotter was, I think you could argue he's the most consistent member of this team. Well, where'd Payton go? But sorry, that threw me off. Oh, he's gone. He disappeared. Oh, he's back.
What just happened to me?
We're a professional podcast. What happened? Did someone kidnapped you for your opinion? They were like,
I guess
we don't like Zion Young.
Oh
He's
my
gone.
God. You know what? No, I'm changing it to Damon Wilson. I just looked at the stats.
Yeah.
Damon Wilson had 9 sacks. I did not realize that. Zion Young, I'm sorry, but
I'm sticking with mine. I just
You sticking with Trotter?
yeah, I just think he was the most consistent player on this team. I really do. I don't think that was necessarily Ahmad Hardy's fault that, he didn't impact games as much as Mizzou probably wanted him to at times. But I just think that guy is, maybe, there's some improvements he needs to be made in his all around game. But I think he was so good on the tackling. I think he could get in the backfield a little bit and was just an enforcer. I think if he leaves, Mizzou's going to really miss that guy. And I don't know. I'll go with him.
Yeah, when you say leave too, the for those that don't know, I mean the NFL draft.
Draft. Leave for draft. Potentially.
I'm gonna go Damon Wilson. He hasn't won it yet, and I'm sorry, Jack. Trotter did win it, and there's no wrong answer. I feel like that's the thing too.
All three, I think, are the case.
This linebacker position, I mean, was probably in decent hands coming into the year, and Trotter just elevated it as well. The biggest question was defensive end coming into the year. I remember a lot of it, and Payton, we made some memes after things you said about building Johnny Walker Jr. in the aggregate. He had 9.5 sacks that year in 2024. Like you mentioned, Damon Wilson had 9, and Zion Young had 6.5. I mean, these two guys put together, I mean, they arguably the best defensive end room in the country, and PFF has backed that up. If you go and follow Edge's coach Brian Early on Twitter, he'll tell you too. I mean, he is very gung-ho about promoting his guys and bullish of them, and he's been out there promoting Sac Ave. And I think overall that was one of the biggest questions, and I think Damon Wilson and Zion Young both answered it. I think all three of them are very deserving of this award. Okay.
No doubt.
The Marcus Clark, the second Impact Transfer Award through the first 4 games, you guys took Ahmad Hardy. The second 4 games, you guys took Josiah Trotter. For the end of the season, I have Josiah Trotter, Ahmad Hardy, and Keegan Trost.
I think it's got to be Hardy again. I mean, he had a 300-yard game. That's really tough to stop.
That is by definition impactful.
Yeah, if we're going just pure impact, it's got to be Hardy, I think. I'd love to be able to give it to Trost, but it's got to be Hardy, I think.
Unfortunately, Keegan Trost, he's been very, very good. I think he's raised the standard and the perception of himself. I don't know if the offensive line quite followed suit as a whole. It's less of I think if you take even Damon Wilson or Zion Young, and they're the only guy in that defensive edge room, they're single-handedly kind of raising the standard of that. I don't know that I got all the way there with Keegan Trost, but he was awesome. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. But when I value the impact, this is where I go with that. Versus Hardy, you take Jamal Roberts out of that running back room, I think they're still just fine. Glad they didn't, but
that's a good approach too, because Damon Wilson was in the past 3 as well. And I was thinking about, what if you just remove him from the equation? How does that defensive end room play?
Right. Does it get way worse?
Yeah. That's a good approach to take there too. I mean, that's going to be a good thing we have next year if we keep the same superlative names. The 2023 Brady Cook Most Improved Award. I'm going to read you the names that we had going in through the first 4 games. Marquise Johnson was on there with Brett Norfleet and Jamal Roberts. One of you voted for Brett Norfleet. I think it was
Probably
Jack. And Jamal Roberts won that. The second group of games, second 4 games, I had Toriano Pride, Marvin Burks, and Jamal Roberts. You guys went off the beaten path and both voted for Marquise Gracial. So in this last one, I have Toriano Pride Jr., who I thought had a great second half to the season, Marquise Gracial, and Sterling Webb. I feel like the answer is pretty clear here, but I think all 3 of these guys had very
Let's
big
go.
years.
You're
It's
right.
not
It is
Sterling
Sterling
Webb.
Webb,
I'm sorry,
Kenny. That's
it's
a
not,
phenomenal answer. Sterling Webb appreciation.
I
He
might
was
go
great.
off the beaten path here again and vote for Jamal Roberts once again. Again, another great year for him. I mean, if we're talking about improving throughout the year, you could maybe go.
My pick is Pride if I'm evaluating it in that. I thought
Yeah,
Pride was
maybe
awesome.
Olugbode too. I mean, he kind of came on, but he kind of was an instant.
This is more of an award for a non-freshman because it's Brady Cook who had a terrible 2022, in part to injury as well, but came back and led a team to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
My pick is
That's
Toriano
Worth
Pride.
Jones love. Interesting. No, I think I gotta go. Well, Jamal. No, yeah, I'll go Jamal Roberts. I think I'm gonna write in him.
Okay. This is a very tough one. I really just want to go Toriano Pride. And I
You're
think
not gonna hear complaint from me.
Yeah, there was just such a good year for him for coming over from Clemson in 2024. It's fair to say, like, he did not live up to the expectations that were set for him. He was not the cornerback. I mean, he was losing snaps to Nicholas Deloach, who was fighting for a starting spot as well. And then this year, it's like the more you don't hear the cornerbacks' names, the better sometimes. And Toriano Pride really improved. And you saw the PFF grades a lot more green in that second half too.
Yeah, I think that cornerback room we were really worried about coming into the year, and it ended up being one of the better parts of Mizzou's defense. I thought he made some really awesome plays. Like, I think there's some nice highlights he'll have for his Mizzou career.
The Xavier Delgado Unheralded Lineman Award. This could also go both ways. So it could be offense and defense. The first 4 games.
My pick is in, Kenny.
Okay, good. Don't tell anyone yet. Keegan Trost through the first 4 games. The next 4 games, Chris McClellan. In rounding out the season, it's Keegan Trost, Chris McClellan, and Marquise Gracial.
I think, again, you have to look at the definition of the prompt here. I think if you were paying attention, Keegan Trost and Chris McClellan are not unheralded. I think those guys have been awesome. I think it's been pretty obvious how awesome they've been. I would pick Gracial. My pick is once again Sterling Webb, unheralded.
I would also. I still think, like, when people talk about how good Mizzou's defense was, I don't like. You're hearing young Wilson and Trotter before it. Like, you don't hear enough McClellan. I think still. I won't go McClellan, even though I think there's an argument to be made. He is a bit unheralded. I will go. This is tough, actually. I feel like you could make an argument for someone in the secondary because the secondary wound up not being that bad. I'll just stick with Gracial. I really think he was exactly what they needed him to be, kind of that anchor in the middle when they needed a run, when they needed some run defense.
This is a tough one. It really is. I feel like a lot of these guys fit it, and it's just really based on your opinion of what you think this award should be, just depending on, how good Xavier Delgado was. I mean, he went a full season without a penalty, I think it was, or a season and a half for Missouri.
Love Xavier Delgado so much. It's really infectious.
Who does?
You.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I loved him. I remember asking, Jack Sobel was in charge of the group chat for the Columbia Missourian when we would talk to the SID at the time. And she asked, who do you guys want? And I said, get Xavier Delgado up there. And Jack Sobel thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever said. He ended up being the best lineman on that team in 2022 and pretty much in 2023 as well.
Our friend Membu was on the line in 2023.
Just because you get drafted next year doesn't make you the best. He was
really good in
he was statistically the best on that team. Okay, I'm just going to give it to Sterling Webb. I think I'm going to join you, Jack.
Let's go.
I think I'm going off my 3 choices as well.
Welcome to the Sterling Webb hive.
Am I missing something?
He had, a
Sterling
pretty
Webb.
decent year. I mean, he participated in special teams too. There were a couple plays where he made, some good impacts there, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah,
as well.
special teams was so great this year.
He dropped off a little bit in the final 3 games. The Vanderbilt and Texas A&M games, which I guess they both lost. He was good in both of those games. That guy made plays. Sterling
Maybe
Webb
I'm
was-
just
was
I'm
underrated.
feeding into it, Peyton. Maybe I'm feeding into what he wants here.
14 quarterback hurries, 2 quarterback hits, 11 tackles.
I feel like you gotta give Jalen Marshall love if you're gonna give Sterling Webb love. Like
I'd throw
this.
Nate Johnson in there too. Nate Johnson, a couple good plays.
Got
Did
ejected.
he? Did he really?
He had like 2 sacks that I
Pretty
kind of
ejected
I
remember.
think
one
I
game.
noticed Langdon Kitchen more than Nate Johnson.
We did the Jalen Marshall thing in the midseason because he gets a superlative simply for not having
For
Caden
not
Proctor,
putting Mizzou
not-
on
not letting-
highlights forever.
not letting
Yeah.
Caden Proctor into the end zone. On that
Nate
line
Johnson
against
had
Alabama.
0 sacks this year, Jack.
They probably because they went to put Sterling Webb. Sterling
I
Webb
think
probably had him instead.
Santana Banner got run over by Proctor right before Marshall made that stop.
He did.
I can imagine why.
Sterling Webb 3 sacks, 11 tackles, 14 quarterback hurries, unheralded.
Okay.
Okay, I guess
As
we're
like
going
the
with Sterling
tertiary
Webb.
defensive tackle.
The Mekhi Miller Freshman Reserve Award. And just so you guys remember, there's a slash between freshman and reserve. I'm going to give you all the names that I had on here as well. Through the first 4 games, it was
There's gotta
Robert
be Xavier
Meyer,
Lloyd in here.
Donovan Olugbode, and Tristan Wilson. Peyton and I both voted for Olugbode. You guys can guess who voted for Robert Meyer. The next 4 games, Donovan Olugbode, Jude James, Matt Zollers. I mean, it was just
There is no
good.
Xavier Lloyd on here.
No, and it was going to be Donovan Olugbode. The last 3, and I feel like the answer is just going to be Donovan Olugbode, but I put 2 other names on there just because I thought Jude James had a good end to his redshirt freshman season. And Santana Banner, I mean, he was kind of a reserve to start off and really found a lot of snaps near the end of the season in the back half at safety for Missouri.
I can't really. I know Olugbode made a couple plays against A&M. I think. Did he really do much else though?
This is for the entire season, Peyton.
Oh, it is for the entire season. Okay, it's Olugbode then.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a absolute freak in this league for the next 2 seasons. There's no other.
Did
Jude James
Santana
was
Banner-
great. Shout out
Was
to Jude
Banner
James.
one of the people that got ejected against Mississippi State? I know Nate Johnson did.
No.
Or no, Trotter was the other one. Trotter was
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah, that's right. Weird game. Weird game. Is that all? That's it. Do you have any superlatives you want to give out, Peyton?
Yeah, I had one last time. I don't think anyone wrote it down. And I think Santana Banner was the answer because it had something to do with Kenny's love of I don't remember.
A little
exactly.
sad we couldn't give Kevin Coleman Jr. anything. Just didn't quite
The I'm so sorry we had a mess of a quarterback situation award. Nominees are Marquise Johnson.
or the
Kevin
congratulations at beating the Eric Link Special Teams Trap Award and actually having a highlight moment.
Yeah.
Coach of the year, not named Curtis Looper or Brian Early.
So not the 2 that we would actually
That we would give it to.
Yeah.
Derek
Nicholson?
Derek Nicholson is the answer, I think.
Who's the D tackle coach? I
David
forget his
Blackwell.
name. David Blackwell, that's right, because Al Davis is no more.
Peeler.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to
No.
Al Pogue actually,
That's good. I like that.
because the corners were not nearly as bad as I thought they would be.
My pick is Derek Nicholson. I think that linebacker room was good.
Could tell you a couple people who I would not give it to, but that's what I'll leave it at, because we're a positive show.
One of them was in Pullman the other day.
Easy and Wonder.
He wasn't doing that much of that in Minnesota. That's why he's in Memphis now. All right. Good superlatives, Kenny. Do we have any final Mizzou football takes
Nope.
you want to give? All right, we'll go to quick hits.
And now for something completely different.
Psych. We're actually not going to quick hits because Kenny and I care about you, the viewers, so much and bringing you and as much content as we can. We're going to talk about Missouri men's basketball against Alabama State. The Hornets, a tournament team, two tournament teams from last year playing each other, Kenny. And I'll tell you what, one team looked like it could maybe get back there and do good in the SWAC again. And that team is not the Missouri Tigers. I take nothing away. Alabama State, I love their coach. And this kid Anderson is going to be something. I don't know what grade he's in. I didn't look up what year he's in, but is it Ajon Anderson? Was that how they were saying his first name?
Mm-hmm.
He's good, man. Props to Alabama State. They hung around in this game. I think a lot, some of it was on Missouri, but I want to give them some love off the top because they look good. That coach is great.
Yeah, I mean, he was coaching the final 5 minutes too. I was like saying to myself and my roommate, I was like, I guess I'll just call her my fiance, but I was saying that I was like, can this game just end? I was like, it's like the last 5 minutes, but I thought that was really neat too, that the Hornets coach was playing that deep into their coaching that deep into the game. That was a great thing to see too. And there was a lot of, we sound like Dennis Gates right now. We're giving a lot of props to Alabama State, not talking about these issues for Missouri, but Alabama State could shoot it, like you're saying, Jack. Like it wasn't just Missouri's, poor defense, and there was a lot of poor defense at times in this game. Anderson took 8 shots, 10 of those from 3, and he made 5 of them. I mean, that's a good percentage, 50% from 3. He finished with 23 points in this game in the 35 minutes he played, which was the second most for Alabama State. Overall, just great shooting performance from him. He's a senior according to ESPN, and I think that's why.
Third team too. He was at Queens before this. 5 points a game at Queens, and now he's averaging 17 a game for Alabama State. This is what you love about college basketball.
They were showing that too with Simpson. I think Simpson was around that 5 to 6 point range last year. Now he's in the double digits. He scored 10 in this one for Alabama State. All around, I mean, it was a great offensive performance from Alabama State. They had a lot of responses down the stretch. So I think it was up to a 13-0 run there in the second half with 10 minutes to go. And even when Missouri could get hot from 3, Anderson responded, or Simpson, or Steinbach, who had some points down the stretch, who finished with 5, but I think all 5 of those came probably in the last 10 minutes. But overall, it was a game where you wanted to see improved Mizzou defense. I think they just ran into a team that was playing pretty well offensively in Alabama State.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they I think deserve some. I mean, they made the tournament last year. Madlock, the coach, is he's got the relationship with Dickie Nutt. I know they mentioned that on the broadcast. Like that guy's going places. I like that team. I'm going to follow them along this year because I know they went to the tournament last year, and they seem like they have some kind of fun players. But at the same time, Kenny, they were beaten by 40 by Florida State. They were beaten by 30. Oh, I'm forgetting the team off the top of my head. It was in the graphic. I'd have to go back and check. But they have been trounced by the D1 competition that they've played this year, and Missouri did absolutely none of that on defense. They shot 13 of 26 from 3. Alabama State did. They went on a 6-0 run in under a minute. Like you said, they had a couple of almost double-digit or double-digit. I know they had at least a 10-0 run right at the end of the game. Missouri had its own little 9-0 spurt, went back up 18. Alabama State cut it right back to 12. And it is just, I feel like a continued broken record with this Missouri defense. It is just not, I mean, you had guys flying out of the gym, falling for some of these pump fakes. And it was like, because they were late on these closeouts and it was just a head fake. And then, an Alabama State player would drive baseline or just pull up from 3, and credit to them. They made a lot of them. They made 50% of them. But I don't know. This team is falling further and further away for me from a tournament potential with performances like these. I mean, it never felt like Missouri was going to lose this game, but man, it was not good to look at my TV screen and see an 18-point lead erased, and with 5 minutes left, it be genuinely a game in the balance.
28-point loss to Colorado too is what you're looking for. This is something that maybe you could look up too while I'm talking about this. Missouri only had 3 steals in this game. When we talk about, just poor defense, this team was like stacking up steals the last 2 years. And it was just like there was no presence there. Sean Phillips, who had got up or tied with the most fouls with Anthony Robinson, of course, with 3 in this one. He had 3 blocks, 4 blocks in total. Anthony Robinson had that one tipped one in the corner and down the stretch in the second half. But overall, I mean, there wasn't just many defensive statistics to this team either. And I think that, also plays a part with, we're talking about just Alabama State team that was responding really well and shooting really well. But you're also playing a SWAC opponent, and you're kind of expecting your team to step up defensively and slow this team that has struggled against other teams this year. Like you're mentioning with the Power 4 level against Colorado and Florida State getting blown out by both of those teams. They lost handily to SIUE, a team that Missouri has been familiar with in the past. And overall, it was just, I don't know if you found it yet, Jack, but I just think there was just no real presence. Guarding guys. You saw stretches where Teo Barrett was in someone's face or in our Boateng, but they weren't forcing those turnovers that you're probably used to from this Missouri team in the past year.
They averaged 9.4 steals a game last year. That was 12th in the country by the end of the season. It was also 0.1 more steals than Iowa State, who this year, by the way, are ranked 4th in the nation. I don't know. I don't know when they're going to kind of figure it out on that end. I don't know if there's time to. I mean, this team is going to get run out of the gym by Illinois, Bethune-Cookman. You'd assume they'd be fine, but it just, you're right. It doesn't. It feels. I don't even know like if there's necessarily a lack of like tenacity or what it is, but it does not have the same. It has much closer to the feeling of the 0-18 defense than it does of the defense of last year. Certainly the defense of 2022-23 that you said, like to fly around, had guys who really enjoyed kind of using their instincts defensively. And that kind of feeds into the question I thought I was going to lead this with, Kenny, because I was reading Dennis's comments from the Wednesday press conference before this game, and the one that stood out, I know your colleague Kyle over at Mizzou Today used it in his headline as kind of the quote to lead into the everything Dennis Gates said, was that they were kind of getting too like analytically dependent, almost overthinking on both ends of the floor.
Frozen.
Analytically frozen was the word that they used. And I thought that was really interesting. And so my question to you was going to be, did Anthony Robinson play a little bit more instinctive for you than analytically frozen? Because that was what he kind of challenged, particularly Anthony Robinson, to do. And you go in, to go back to your point about defense, that's his, forte. That's kind of supposed to be his bread and butter. And I will admit, about 90% of this game, my answer was no. He did end the game. I think in the last 6 minutes, he had 5 points, a steal, and a block, which it's Alabama State. It shouldn't be a spot where you need to take over a game, but I will hand it to Anthony Robinson. When there was a moment that they needed, a guy to just take over a game on both ends, he made a few plays. Again, it's with a large grain of salt, the fact that it's against Alabama State, but I don't know. Did he play? Was he or this team still analytically frozen for you?
I think that kind of ties into what you were talking about earlier, Jack, with this team missing something. You talk about the tenacity. I think it's really just an identity. And I think that's the guy that you probably would go to try to find that identity. In this game, though, just watching him play, just watching his demeanor in the way he was kind of carrying himself in the court, especially in the second half, I feel like we're getting closer to that Anthony Robinson from last year. I think there was a big step. I mean, the guy was smiling. I don't know if I've seen him really smile or show some energy. I know he's kind of gotten into this little scrappy, scuffles at times this year, especially just, Kansas and Notre Dame. These past 2 games, I think Notre Dame one was the more prominent one, but 12 points in the second half. He was nearly perfect. The only thing he missed was a free throw, 1 for 2 from the line, but 5 for 5 from the field, 1 for 1 from the it was perfect from the 3-point line as well, the one shot he made. And in that first half, he had 4 misses, 2 from deep. No turnovers, though, until the second half. He just had the 1. But overall, pretty clean stat sheet, even though his plus-minus did drop just because of Alabama State really scoring well down the stretch in that second half. But I think overall, I think you're taking the right step to get that Anthony Robinson back that you need, because I think the big thing that we saw last year was he was just so much more mature. He was so much more confident in himself. And I think you're getting closer to that guy. And if, Gates and the staff can continue to challenge him, I think that's how you're going to find this identity. Tamar Bates was a massive part of that identity last year for this Mizzou team. You remember all the videos of them shushing the media or shushing the crowd after the wins. And you just haven't seen that this year. I don't think there's that, energy yet. And I think that's the one way to get it, is to get that guy going.
Yeah. We just need to see it in a big game. I think of the one, I'm almost positive it was him at the beginning of that Kansas game last year. They were kind of on that run and he just pulled up. I think it was at the end of the shot clock, and he pulls up from the left wing, and he's, a good 4 or 5 steps behind the 3-point line. And, it was one of those like, no, yes shots. But then you're like, wow, he had the kind of gall to pull that in that kind of a spot. And, the 1-3 hit in the second half was kind of a desperation heave, but that felt super relieving for him to see that go in. I'm kind of nitpicking, again, moments from an Alabama State game, but you're right. I think that he kind of does need to be that sort of engine. I think it will be good for him to make a couple of plays defensively, to get 19 points. But I think Dennis Gates' comment was spot on. I don't know if it was fully answered, but I'm kind of going to be watching for that, of how often this team just sort of chooses to overthink versus just kind of trusting themselves. I feel like we've seen that a little bit with T.O. Barrett. There's been a couple times this year. The most impressed I am with T.O. Barrett is when he gets in the lane and takes a shot confidently and doesn't hesitate. Sometimes it doesn't come off, but he's got a decent layup package. He can hit some of those turnarounds. He can do a little bit too much at times, but like it's stuff like that. Mark Mitchell has it all the time. Now, Mark Mitchell's like shot diet is very specific, but I think, I don't know. I'm going to be watching for that. How much this team starts to kind of stagnate themselves really on both ends of the floor.
You talk about too that, kind of the touch on the inside. I don't know if you noticed it too, but Anthony Robinson kind of had it there in the second half. I mean, there was some like just shots right under the bucket that he was making. I know he got a ball just kind of poked his way, scored right in the paint. So I think that's a big advantage too, is you're not missing a lot of those shots that are close. I think last year, when you talk about guard play and you're mentioning T.O. Barrett, that was something that I think Payton got really frustrated with some of those shot selections by T.O. Barrett, especially on the inside or turning around and shooting it. So, I mean, if both those guards can do it, if Sebastian Mack can add that as well, it's better to get something out of it than have empty possessions where you're missing from 5 feet away.
Yeah, I maybe it's a little bit of an indictment on T.O. Barrett, but I'm weirdly more confident in those shots than really him shooting at all from the outside. It's not there. I haven't seen it. The one guy we are seeing it from, continuing to see it from is Jacob Cruz. That was the other probably headliner from this game. He started. It was his first start since like March of last year. 7 for 9 from the field. He went 6 of 8 from deep. It does feel like real and good to me that teams, when he's out there, really can't run zone, because I think Missouri has done an all right job of just saying, all right, our zone beater is getting him open. He does a good job of running around. He finds little gaps. And when he's shooting them, he's making them. And it still feels, even if it hasn't impacted winning at a big level for Mizzou yet, it still feels enough like a Caleb Grill light to me, to where if they can fix some of these other issues, he's going to be a real threat for them, the way Caleb Grill was to maybe not win them a game single-handedly, but to turn games around or to generate, offense when they need it. I think he's doing that. He understands his role so much more than I think he did last year, because it seemed like there was a guy who was doing his role last year, and he was kind of like, well, we don't really need 2 of these. And now he's kind of that guy. And I think it's going to keep working, even against better teams.
I think he responded really well. I think it was the Notre Dame game that he struggled with, just percentage wise. And he hit a milestone this year. Do you think he's going to get to 100? I know we've talked about it. I know Callum McAndrew, friend of the program, keeps doing the counter for him. Just having some fun with it. But, going 7 from 9 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3-point line, that was overall just a good performance. He had a couple of heat checks. But he also got Alabama State responded to some of his threes, which kind of, made you feel a little bit,
Well, he still gets exposed a lot on defense. Like, I think that's the one other thing. Caleb Grill, even if he wasn't the most outstanding defender, brought it energy wise and made some, I think, still impactful plays in there. I don't think Cruz does that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I think you're still pleasantly surprised with the steps that he's taken as a shooter this year. I know that Payton probably still had some frustrations coming in the year of what the expectations, what the workload could look like for Jacob Cruz, and I think he's bested a lot of those so far.
Yeah, I think we know what he is, and I think he's gonna impact winning in the SEC. I think that's gonna be critical for this team. There is still plenty to be figured out around him, namely if this Ant thing can get consistent. They need Jaden Stone back so badly on offense. But the bigger issue for me is not on that end. I think they do have enough horses this year to compete with teams and to find ways to score points. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is defensively. That's kind of my main worry here for this team is I think if there are multiple scoring threats, as there were on like a Kansas, they're just going to be in trouble, big trouble.
We're not saying to write off Mizzou at all, but you are running, short on time now. You have one non-conference game left that's not against a high major in Bethune-Cookman on Saturday at 1 p.m. on SEC Network. And after that, you got Illinois, and then you're straight into SEC play. So it's a tough stretch, coming up. You do have a lot more days off before the SEC play officially starts, but you got to figure out, how that defense is going to work when you get up against guys that are going to be a little bit better than you. You've already seen it with Notre Dame and Kansas.
They are 116th in defensive efficiency at the moment. And the problem is they're only 25th on offense. The one team that comes to mind that was like a legit tournament team, could beat people. You think about last year that had a weirdly bad defense was Kentucky. Kentucky ended the year 10th in offensive rating, but they were still 51st in defensive rating. So Mizzou is well off that, being that kind of a team, I think, on both sides. So yeah, I don't know. And
it's not anything new. Like it's been, someone even pointed out when we posted a meme today about, watching this team play defense. Like you could have posted this last 4 years as well.
I think the worst ranked defense on Ken Pom last year that made the tournament was Lipscomb. They were 101, and that's a mid-major. So they won their conference. Yeah, it's the 116th ranked defense last year. Oh, wait a minute. The 116th ranked defense last year. Oh, no, it was 115. It was Yale. They did make the tournament. So, but again, mid-major.
Won the Ivy.
Different circumstance. Right below them, the team that finished 116th in defensive rating last year was the Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Rutgers team. So maybe that means Missouri will have 2 top 5 picks, Mark Mitchell and Anthony Robinson. They're just going to turn into those guys. And Jacob Cruz. Do you have anything else, Kenny, or do you want to talk football schedule quickly?
Yeah, I no superlatives for this one. I even paid attention.
I didn't feel like making them. I was just like, no, we're not doing this today.
All right. I mean, we talked about everything that need to be talked about. There wasn't I didn't notice that any shout out for someone random.
I didn't have a cameo. My best one was going to be Dickie Nutt for the fact that he coached with the Alabama State coach, who's I keep forgetting his name, even though I've looked it up 3 times. Madlock. Sorry, Tony Madlock. Mizzou football schedule dropped, I think, during this game. So we have that to talk about as well. I will run through it very, very quickly. We give our takeaways. So it's a lot more, I guess, fun on paper, maybe not in the sense that it's as easy, but kind of more fun. Opponents and not 7 straight home games. Shocker, that doesn't happen every single year. They will start at home against UAPB on September 5th. They will play at Kansas on September 12th. Home against Troy, September 19th. They are at Mississippi State on September 26th. Home against Florida, October 3rd. Home against Texas A&M, October 10th. At Ole Miss, October 17th. At Arkansas, October 31. Home against Texas, November 7th. At Georgia, November 14th. Home against Kentucky, 11/21, and home against Oklahoma on November 28th. So if you're keeping track, by the way, that is 4 of their final 6 games are against 3 college football playoff teams and another team that only lost 3 games last year. And then the other, I think, big headliner is, of course, it appears Oklahoma has replaced Arkansas as the rivalry week game. That game is the last of the regular season. Arkansas, the 31st, Kenny.
Yeah, it's Arkansas's last game against LSU. Do you know?
I didn't look that up. I would guess so.
Because that was something that
Texas, do they have a little thing with Texas? A little tiff?
Texas would be Texas A&M.
Oh, you're right.
Pull it up real quick. Arkansas will finish the year against LSU. Yeah, that was a game that both
makes
sides
sense.
wanted back. Just a couple things. Florida homecoming. I think that's a good homecoming. Pretty two programs that have been even in years past. First time you're playing them since 2023. I think that's a fun one. Getting homecoming back in October is a little nice as well. I think in a perfect world, it's that third weekend where you play Ole Miss that you probably would want it, but you're on the road for that. A lot of these games, new coaches. Florida, Ole Miss. Of course, a lot of Ole Miss staff might still be there, and you're only moving to DC into the head coach spot. Yeah. Kentucky, Arkansas. A lot of new faces coming in as well that Mizzou's going to play. I think it's only a matter of time that this UAPB game might be moved to Thursday. If you haven't noticed, Jack, that it is a little bit later now, the September 5th start for that first Saturday. And there's only going to be there's only going to be one bye week now. So the Missouri bye week is going to be the 24th of October. I know Drinkwitz wasn't a big fan of that. You're moving to a 9-game SEC slate, and you have to deal with that. That can be tough.
That is between the Ole Miss and Arkansas games, by the way.
Yep. And so third week in October, fourth week. Fourth game. It would be the fourth game in October. Fourth week. But yeah, that's the slate. I mean, there's no reason for us to even look at who's going to win these games. We have no idea. I would give you a lot of money if you can name all 12 starting quarterbacks for all these teams.
I will say, I mean, the potential for Arch in Como is kind of fun there on November 7th if he's presumably still with Texas.
And Ryan Wingo too.
Yeah, you have the Kejuan Lacey revenge game in Ole Miss. Arch and Ryan Wingo. But yeah, otherwise I don't think there's any guarantees for who might be lurking around some of these teams. So yeah, I won't give any prediction, but there you have it. I assume Jalen Daniels will not be Kansas's quarterback. I don't think he can come back anymore.
Give a prediction. How do you think Mizzou's going to finish?
You want the record?
Let's do it way too early. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll say 7-5 tentatively. That feels. Right. I feel like there's probably going to be one of the A&M, Ole Miss. I'm giving them my losses are A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. But I feel like one of those teams should be worse. That could be a toss-up. There's my team.
It's a tough, yeah. I mean, we have no idea.
You asked.
Hypothetically, yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Well, I'm just going to go 8-4. Just a good benchmark to kind of aim for moving forward.
All right. Yeah.
You better be right. I mean, everyone's counting on you to be right. I hope everyone knows that too.
I don't want to be
predicting
right.
this.
I hope
you're predicting it.
I hope I'm very wrong, and it's 11-1, with the one loss being to Georgia, because Drinkwitz can't win a big game. All right, we'll go to quick hits now. There's your Alabama State recap. I feel like I sounded overly positive about that game. Really not. I'm trying to find things to be. I'm an optimist at heart. I'd like to think, but
you were positive about Alabama State.
I am very positive about Alabama State. I hope that team wins the SWAC again. There's going to be some bummer games in January and February. It could get grim. All right, we'll lock into quick hits to finish the show. Okay, before we get started with quick hits, can you give us a quick side of the cyclone? Thanks. I learned a fun fact the other day that if we're recording this on Thursday, so we don't know the outcome of the Iowa State game, but if Iowa State wins, it'll be the first time they've ever won in football, men's and women's basketball, and wrestling over Iowa in the same season. There's my fun fact for the day. What's your jersey of the week, Payton? Or Kenny. I forget who goes first.
It's me. My jersey of the week goes to Cody Schrader, who got claimed off of waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars by my Houston Texans. The only thing I'm going to have about this, the Texans running back room is very light right now. Even Woody Marks, who's a starter, is banged up. So it might come down that Cody Schrader might see some snaps on the field on Sunday, which I think will be really cool. He hasn't played on an offense in a regular season game yet. He's played on special teams before, so this will be really neat to see if he can actually get on the field. He also changed his number. He's number 30 now. This isn't last worn, but I remember the last number 30 for the Texans was Philip Lindsay. So I thought he could fix that number for Texans history. Because what was he before, Payton? Do you remember? It was like 47, 49?
Yeah, he's like bounced around a bunch of numbers in his career.
Cody Schrader and Adare Ogunbowale backfield on a playoff football team.
You know, Dare scored a touchdown last week.
He did. Yeah.
I
texted. I was very excited. I love Dare Ogunbowale.
He had to come in because Woody Marks got hurt. And then you see Woody Marks kind of watching from the sideline. He sees him go in. He turns around and goes and sits on the bench. I think he was mad that it probably wasn't his touchdown.
The second best athlete in his family, Dare Ogunbowale.
That's true. His sister's
she's a WNBA player. Arike Ogunbowale, known for 2 buzzer beaters in the Final Four. Payton, this is very exciting for Cody Schrader. I hope he plays. Payton, your jerseys.
My jersey of the week is going to go to, I don't know, anybody mentioned in the tweet here. You can pick one. Pick your favorite. The tweet is from Mizzou football.
Caden Green.
5 Tigers make the AP All-SEC team. Ahmad Hardy, Caden Green, Keegan Trost, Chris McClellan, and Josiah Trotter. Hardy, Green, Trost, and Trotter were first teamers. McClellan was a second teamer. This is just one because there's about a billion of these lists out there. Some are going to have like Zion Young and Damon Wilson on it as well, rightfully so. We're just not going to even bother trying to track all of them down, man. It's going to take too much time.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, please don't do it. Do it for Mizzou today. Do it on here.
No.
Okay. I saw the top reply was no Zion. I don't know. There were good edge rushers in the SEC that probably snuck in there too.
You had Cassius Howell, but most lists are going to have at least one of younger Wilson on there.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, the SEC coaches first team.
My jersey of the week,
which had Ahmad Hardy, Keegan Trost, Zion Young, and Josiah Trotter. That was the most of any school on the SEC coaches first team. Missouri was number 1 with 4 players. On the second team, Missouri had Caden Green and Damon Wilson the second.
Good to know.
There you go.
And then Ahmad Hardy was no, I'm not done yet. Ahmad Hardy was a All-American by On3 by Chris Lowe.
Oh, thank you, Chris Lowe.
He was the one that broke the news about Nick Saban retiring, I'm pretty sure.
If you want to come on and talk about that, both of those items, we'd be happy to have you. My jersey of the week is Marquise Davis, another transfer for Mizzou. He is entering or plans to enter the portal. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Interesting. We saw Mizzou's freshman running back 3 from a year ago do the same thing and had a pretty good second year for himself. So maybe Davis trying to look for a good opportunity elsewhere. I don't know how you guys felt. I was a little surprised. I thought he got a fair amount of touches behind 2 really good running backs, Roberts and Hardy, but obviously those guys can come back. So, you might find yourself a little buried on the depth chart in your second year. And again, a guy in his position literally did this a year ago. So kind of counter my surprise with that reasoning.
Yeah, I thought this when Haygood left, it maybe meant you felt good about all of Davis, Roberts, and Hardy coming back. I still think they're probably going to feel pretty good about Roberts and Hardy coming back with this happening.
What makes you say that?
What do you mean?
That's just kidding. It's just because they were both really good.
Well, either way, Marquise Davis, it's such a shame, you'd have liked to have seen someone like him, like that kind of high level recruit kind of be able to find his way onto the field and keep him around for when you do have to think about life after Roberts and Hardy. But it's understandable from his perspective. He was probably going to be RB3 again in an ideal world for Mizzou. So I understand why he would want to look elsewhere.
Yeah, you can contribute elsewhere. I feel like there's not many hard feelings about it. I did talk to someone on the staff. It did come as a little bit of a surprise to lose him in this way. But when you do look at it in a perfect world, I think you want him to stay one more year, play behind those guys, maybe see the field a little bit more. And if Jamal Roberts uses all of his eligibility, because there's a lot of expectations that Ahmad Hardy would only play one more season and then test the waters of the NFL draft after his junior year, then you have Marquise Davis and Jamal Roberts, playing together in the 2027 season would have been the perfect world for Missouri. And then whoever comes, from there as well in the transfer portal or in the high school ranks, whoever emerges, I think that was probably the best case scenario. But I think it's a little bit different than the Quan Lacey situation because Quan Lacey would have had the keys to that running back room for Missouri.
Yeah, true.
Marquise Davis did not. I mean, he was just kind of caught behind, a very talented running back. And when Marquise Davis signed with Missouri, did you guys know who Ahmad Hardy was? No, right. I mean, we didn't know who that was. We didn't know Missouri was going to have to go after a running back to begin with. Nonetheless, SEC, the best running back in the SEC who ended up being the best running back in the SEC. Second in the country.
Best in the country.
The awards will tell you.
The awards lie. You lie. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I didn't think about that with they were in similar spots in their career, but you're right. Quan Lacey, that would have been his room versus you've got some depth back there.
I like no Captain. He's the main bird.
Shawnee's maybe the week, Kenny.
My Shawnee's main bird of the week. Mizzou in Major League Baseball. I think this is fun. The Toronto Blue Jays selected right-hand pitcher Spencer Miles, former Missouri pitcher, from the Giants in the MLB phase of the Rule 5 draft. So he has to play the entire season or be on the 26-man roster or on the injured list with the Toronto Blue Jays for the entire year to stick with the organization. If he does not make it through spring training or through the entire season, he has the opportunity to be returned to the Giants. But this is pretty neat. If he can stay healthy, he was injured a little bit, banged up last year. If he can stay healthy and get onto that Blue Jays roster, that's another former Missouri Tiger on the Blue Jays. Because like last year, they had Max Scherzer, who ended up being a free agent this offseason.
That's cool. I didn't know that's how the Rule 5 draft works. So it's kind of like a loan in soccer, where it's like, although I guess a loan they are guaranteed to go back to their team. But if he's good with the Blue Jays, he just stays there. Now he's just there.
Not even just like good. He has to be on the roster.
Being on the roster,
on the injured list. There's also a limit of how many days he can be on the injured list too. I think there's a lot of moving parts.
You can't be on the 60-day.
Yeah, for a certain amount of time. Yeah.
But then if he meets those requirements the full season, he's just a Blue Jay now.
Full member of the Blue Jays. Yeah.
Interesting. Otherwise, he goes back.
When worlds collide for Kenny, Mizzou and Rule 5 draft, his two passions.
Any other Rule 5 draft highlights, Kenny?
I didn't watch it this year. I'm as immersed in baseball right now as I would like to be, but a lot more picks this year. The Astros chose someone in the MLB phase, which is unlike the Astros. But
who'd they take?
Took a reliever from the Marlins.
There you go.
Munoz.
Excited?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he has a lot of sweep on his breaking pitches and some good velocity. So see how it works out.
It's very good. Very good.
This was interesting too, Payton, that, the Astros have done well with okay, we're getting so off track. Never mind. This is so.
No, just say it. Come on.
You already started saying it, man.
The Astros have done really well with just relief projects, and they sometimes take until the midway mark of the season. They saw an opportunity to get in there right now with someone, bring him into the season, and try to see if he can make the roster right away.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. No, I don't know why you were so ashamed to say that. You were nerding out a bit.
I'm nerding out, but it's like no. People are hitting the skip ahead, the 15-second one right now.
Who cares? We don't do it for the people. We do it for us and Grandma Clara. Grandma Clara is the only person we do it for. Payton, what's your bird?
My bird is going to be. There goes Kenny. It's going to be Jason Crowe Jr. I can't, in fact, get back in here right now, Kenny.
I can put it back in, I think.
No, he's not there right now.
Oh.
Just a chair. Oh, man. Jason Crowe Jr. is my bird because he broke a record, you two, and you both are going to hear about it Jason Crowe Jr. Became California's all-time top scorer in high school basketball. He went for, I don't even remember how much in the game. He broke it on a three-pointer.
The guy at the reply said 51.
Yeah,
but maybe 51. That's from a different game.
I mean, he I think beat it in like 15 less games than the guy in front of him took to get it. I'm gonna add Kenny back in here because you two need to hear it. Yeah, he's literally the crown jewel of Dennis Gates' recruiting, and now he is the all-time leading high school scorer in California basketball. This is going to be a player that starts for Mizzou next year, no matter what you two haters say. You ne'er-do-wellers think or believe. This is going to be a starter for Missouri basketball next year. And if you're looking for a bird connection, his last name is Crowe with an E. If you take away the E, that's Crowe the bird.
No, I like no cap, and he's the main bird.
We forgot to play that.
I played it.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah. What do you two haters have to say now?
Yeah, the 51 points was that game last night because he did go over the record. So now it's all his.
Apologize.
I mean, I apologize for what? I mean, we were just saying that we've noticed the tendencies of Dennis Gates. Sorry, we haven't seen him coach a 5-star yet, but I mean, there might be a world where he just doesn't start the first game. That's all I think.
Dennis Gates would be the first to tell you there are no guaranteed starters.
Exactly.
In the University of Missouri.
You two.
You have blown this up into something that it doesn't need to be.
We ain't right back.
This is not us. This is not our doing. We have watched.
You've created this fallacy that you think we're just these Jason Crowe haters. Why would we hate on the teenage basketball player who's done great things? We're just saying that there might be a world.
I don't know why you would, but you do.
Yeah, because you're blowing it up into something that's not. You are attacking us. Freedom of speech, and you are trying to strip that from Jack and I.
Yeah, I've said nothing.
Not be allowed back on the bus.
We sue you for libel.
Libel. My main bird of the week is Philip Rivers. Bird connection. First of all, I was actually kind of proud of this bird connection, although maybe it doesn't count depending on your definition. Philip Rivers, he's back in the NFL. Before he was back in the NFL with the Colts, he was the head coach at St. Michael Catholic High School in Alabama. Their mascot, the Cardinal. I realize that's not technically a bird, but Cardinal is a bird. So
birds sit on the Cardinal.
Yeah. Cardinals can sit on the Cardinal. Philip Rivers is playing football for the first time in 5 years, and he is 44 years old. He has not played since the 2020 season, and he might be suiting up for the Colts on Sunday. Absolutely wild.
Signed a 1-day contract with the Chargers to retire this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing NFL football again.
I think I read somewhere his oldest son is older than Tyler Warren, their rookie tight end.
I'm sure
he has grandkids now, I think.
Yeah. He's a grandpa. He's literally a grandpa, and he might play.
There literally had to be a statement put out about how his Hall of Fame eligibility is affected by this. I would say, if that has to be a question asked about a quarterback you're considering signing, I don't think you should sign that quarterback. But no, I mean, Philip Rivers was electric his last season with the Colts. I'm not disputing that at all. Like, he was really good. That was in 2020.
5 years ago. 5 years ago. By the way, on FanDuel, the Colts are plus 13.5 against Seattle. So if you're really buying the Philip Rivers hype, you can get them to cover. I, for one, am very not excited that is their opponent this week, because now I feel like all of America is going to be rooting for the Colts if he starts.
You're correct.
So yeah, if he takes one snap, his clock resets. Which, I mean, if you think about it, the class he would have been in was Eli Manning. Drew Brees would also be in his class if he was elected into the Hall of Fame. It's someone else too.
So he can wait.
He can wait, and then he can be in his own class, because this is a loaded class of quarterbacks.
Good point.
And it's not saying like they're not going to take all of them, but now you get your own spotlight. I mean, who the other 5 be? From now, years from now, I don't even know.
So quarterback who retires after this year?
Yeah,
Rodgers.
Oh yeah, he'd be in the same one as Aaron Rodgers. Tyrod Taylor, maybe.
Wilson, possibly. Did you say Tyrod Taylor?
Did you say
Taylor?
Did you say Tyrod Taylor?
You just said Zach Wilson.
No, I didn't.
You said
I
Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
No, yeah, I said Tyrod Taylor.
You said Tyrod Taylor.
He was had a great career.
He's had a good career for like
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yeah.
Would Jay Cutler be in the
easy.
same one with Manning and Breeze?
I don't think he would get in, but no, I think he was done before.
Was he done before them?
Who?
I don't know.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler's not making the Hall of Fame.
You sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
All right. Sorry, I'm mostly in the basketball Hall of Fame world where.
I guess we are talking about more of these all SEC Tigers.
You chose this.
I did?
I don't know. It's on there for you. What'd you learn this week?
This week I learned that 6 Missouri Tigers were named to the all SEC team.
We already talked about this.
Yeah. So there you go. You can, Jack, if you want to cut and insert that part right here, there you go.
What am I going to put in the other part? I'm going to have it twice?
No, you cut the part where I talked about it.
And he mentioned them. Ahmad
Yeah.
Hardy, Zion Young, Keegan Trost, Josiah Trotter, Caden Green, and the other one. Kenny clicked off it too.
Damon Wilson.
Wow, we're really good at this. On 3 All-American, Ahmad Hardy.
Kenny, can you say what you learned, please?
SEC legend Mitch Morse.
I think he's trying to give you a new best thing you learned. We did this one.
Move on.
We did this one.
Cotton Bowl champions there.
What did you learn, Kenny?
Thank you. I was waiting for someone to ask. Best thing I learned this week, Jack Stonehouse is declared for the NFL draft. I hope that whatever world there is out there where Jack Stonehouse got his scholarship and got to stay at Mizzou, I hope it's a perfect world. But he had a great career, got a couple of awards with the Orange, Syracuse. Now he's going to try to test the waters in the NFL.
Congrats, Jack Stonehouse.
Thanks for picking up that snap against Kentucky and trying to run for a first down with it instead of punting it away.
Kentucky had good returners, man.
Oh, God,
I don't care.
I realize I'm putting my fan cap back on for this, but that was the ending of that game was some of the angriest I had ever been. I think I've told this story before, but I had an article to write that day, and I kind of got dragged to the game, and then it ended like that, and I had to walk home and go do work, and I was livid. I was so mad that was how that game ended, and then I had to do work.
I'm with you. I left early. I was so furious throughout it.
It's terrible. Best thing I learned this week, the Thunder are very, very good at basketball. I realize this is not a new thing. The Thunder are 24-1. They have matched the Golden State Warriors of 2015-16 for the best start in NBA history. They are on pace to break the all-time wins record. So figured that was a big enough thing to get the obligatory NBA.
I had no idea this happened. I'm sorry, I don't know why.
Sucks.
That was kind of why I said it, because I think they've just been kind of quietly doing this. But yeah, they are plus 230 on FanDuel, almost 2-1 odds to win 74 games, which would be the NBA record. You're gonna go to their only loss.
I don't even think I think I remember seeing a tweet where they haven't even had their full lineup healthy at the same time.
So they were without Jalen Williams for the first 15 games of the season. Shea has played I think less fourth quarters. What?
Can't rebound.
I think he's played less fourth quarters this year. He's played less than half of the fourth quarters of their games. They've led by 20 in more games than they've trailed. Yeah, it's insane. They are well on track to win 77 games. So the NBA finals are over. We don't need to talk about it.
Yep.
All right, I'll remember that. Let's not bring it up again.
That's your one NBA thing you can bring up this month.
You guys are such haters. Best beats.
Is LeBron still good?
LeBron had a nasty. He dunked on someone the other day.
Heard he lost a streak of 10 points a game though.
He did. He lost it giving a assist for a game-winning buzzer beater.
Well,
look at that. They're already spin zoning why he lost his 10-point game
in the most Lay King way ever.
I enjoyed the sport when he was dominating it. It was a good world.
Yeah, Steph Curry versus LeBron every year. I've at the time said I didn't like it. Now I really wish they would go
I wish
back.
we could go back. Like that was
My
a fun
bad.
time.
I'd take Warriors Cavs every year till the end of time. That was
Agreed.
You guys are lame. Best beats of the week, Payton.
My best beat of the week is going to be Bills by 1.5 over the New England Patriots. This isn't me saying I think the Patriots are about to fall off or anything. I just think they're due for a loss. They beat the Bills the first time around. I think the Bills are going to kind of get back to business here. I think they're good enough. I think the Patriots are good, like very good. I don't think they're good enough to sweep the Bills quite yet. If they do, I will take them completely serious. But I think the Bills will get their win back here.
It's in Buffalo, right?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
No, I think the first one was in Buffalo.
But home field advantage in the NFL is not a thing. So
Drake May, the schedule.
It
The
is
schedule,
in
Drake May.
It is in Gillette Stadium. It is at Patriots.
I'm joking about the home field advantage, by the way.
Drake May. Yeah, is he gonna win MVP?
Does home field advantage play into the selection committee at the end of the season for the NFL?
Yeah. How can you leave out the Los Angeles Rams who went
I heard
on the road and beat
I heard
the
if they don't
Chargers.
I heard if they don't put the 49ers in the playoff, they're not going to play in a bowl game. I heard they were going to opt out.
I forgot to mention that. Do you guys remember when the 49ers were close to signing Phillip Rivers to play in the Super Bowl?
What? Yeah, because it was the year that Brock Purdy got hurt in the NFC Championship game, and they were going to have to put Christian McCaffrey in. I remember this because the 49ers had a QB on their roster. His name is Jawan Jennings. He was recruited out of high school to play quarterback.
Are you two being for real right now? That was
you don't remember that?
Oh yeah, that was
their backup
was
Josh
it was
Johnson,
the first Brock Purdy one. Yeah,
like Josh Johnson. I remember got hurt too, but I didn't know that if they won that game, they were going to sign Phillip Rivers. I figured we were just going to see Josh Johnson start a...
Wait, go back up. Go back up. The 49ers could have to face their old emergency quarterback. Yeah. Yep. They lost Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game because they thought they were going to...
They talked to him when Jimmy broke his foot.
But I think they...
then it came back up again when what was wrong with who am I blanking on?
Well, it was Trey Lance and Jimmy G, and then it was Brock Purdy.
Lance was just out, I think.
Brock Purdy got knocked out in the NFC Championship because
I remember that like his elbow got hurt.
Yeah. They were. I remember talking about they were gonna have to like run McCaffrey at Wildcat, and that was what they were gonna do in the NFC Championship.
I mean, the game was never close. I mean, Purdy started that game, and
right.
Then Johnson got hurt, and then they put Purdy back in to just hand the ball off.
Yep.
See,
he would have if Brock ever got hurt. I remember.
Josh Johnson played in that game.
I think it was for the Super Bowl. Like if they thought they
that's what he's saying.
guy.
So this was after the NFC Championship. We didn't have anyone after Purdy at the time, so that was when Phillips started watching our installs, getting ready for the possibility to come here, and he would have if Brock ever got hurt.
Right.
Oh, and they just somehow won the game if Purdy had gotten hurt.
So yeah, so if they, I don't know if they would have lost him in the Super Bowl, they would have tried to get Rivers or before or whatever. Kenny, what's your beat?
My beat, sticking on the Texans train right now. They're 8-5. Does this count? I had Texans.
You have to. It does. Yes,
it does count.
It does. Yeah,
I believe so.
Cha-ching. Okay, then my other one that I have would be playoffs plus 165. I took on October 12th or before that, a couple days before.
That's looking pretty good value.
Yeah, you're looking solid too.
Pretty good value get.
So this week is Texans against the Cardinals. Texans coming off a big win against the Chiefs, but it's 9.5 points. And the Texans offense still really hasn't figured it out. There's still some injuries at the running back room until CJ Stroud can really show me that he's put it all back together since his concussion. I mean, just put it together in the season in general. I'm just going to roll with the Texans still win this game, but I'm at the Cardinals covering 9.5 points.
It is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. I don't hate it. My best beat, I bet against the Packers last time. I was wrong. I am betting the Packers -2.5. They play the Broncos this week. I am doing the Jordan Love Toyota-thon thing. He has 33 touchdowns, 1 interception, 4,000 passing yards during Toyota-thon. So I'm believing in that. I'm doing that gimmick. Give me the Packers over Denver. That'll do it. Thank you for watching.
This one
listening.
comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, what do you get from a pampered cow?
A massage? No.
Jesus.
A pampered cow?
What do
I
you
figured
get from a
pampered
pampered
massage? I
cow?
don't know.
I was thinking like dairy diapers or something.
Oh, Lord. 2 just outstanding guesses, guys. What do you get from a pampered cow? Spoiled milk is the answer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Sure.
Shout out Sarah Lemire for the joke.
Thank you, Sarah. All right. Thanks for watching, listening, everybody. We will be back. What are we going to talk about? Basketball, probably. The great basketball games that Mizzou is playing against really, really good competition. Oh, look at that. I can change that. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.